Hello everyone, so today I'm going to share with you 5 cards that I've made using mostly the contents from the Simon Says Stamp Card Kit of the Month for June 2023, Etched Greetings. This is the little sheet that comes with it and listing all the contents. I'm not doing a box opening, but you can pause and read all those if you want. This is the bag that came with the kit. Some inspiration here from other wonderful artists, and we'll move right into the first card. So this first card, I'm going to take the stamp set, and I'm going to use this larger bloom and emboss onto the gold card that came in the kit. A section of the bloom in the top right corner, and then the bottom left. So I'm laying it out with just this portion of the bloom showing, and I first embossed it in clear, which I just didn't think gave enough contrast, so I went ahead and thankfully I was using the stamping platform and had left it in place and reapplied the Versamark ink, watermark ink, and was able to do it in gold. And you can't really tell, I don't think, so it worked out. And I like how it gives the balance there. Now this is a very shiny card, so I'm just going to place my panel down here, but it just gives it a little something extra, and I just didn't think it was enough with the clear, so I went ahead and changed it while I was doing it. Taking the stamp set again for my sentiment, this beautiful thank you, and I've got a piece of scrap card that I've just rounded the corners on the two opposite corners there. And again, I'm going to use the Versamark watermark sticky ink to get some gold embossing powder on there. And I can't remember if I think I did end up laying this flat. So you could add a little dimension here in the center if you wanted, but I went with flat. And then this is a piece from the Tim Holtz ephemera pack. They're kind of thicker card. They're not paper ephemera. So that's something to know, but you can kind of see where I've bent it to give it a little bit of dimension. It's a little tougher to bend, but here I am placing just the glue in the center and then sort of curling up the wings, which that will flatten if and when mailed, but I just always like to add a little extra dimension. So for card number 2, again, I'm starting with a white card base, and then I've used the green cardstock from the kit and this pattern paper here. And we're getting the stamp set some use again. So I've trimmed it with these kind of blooms in the top and bottom, and then I'm placing that down. And again, I have this pack of doilies that I got at the thrift store years ago. It's perfect size. I think they're about like the size you would put under a coffee mug. I use them all the time in journals and cards. I just love them. You could use just a die cut doily type shape or a circle here, or it'd be nice with a vellum circle also if you didn't have the doily, but I have these and I just had it on. I have them all over the place in scraps and stuff. So again, the paper ephemera pack here, and this beautiful bird, and I have used the foam squares. I love that they have the black edges. I love that there's that variety. It doesn't really matter with my card, but it's kind of cool. And here's the stamp hello there, and I've stamped it out in one of my grays. This happens to be a Nuvo hybrid ink, but I liked how it looked with the bird. It had some kind of grayish hints, so that was what I settled on. For card number 3, we're going to use, I can't remember the name of the tan cardstock, Desert Storm, I'm not sure. We're going to use that, came in the kit, and then I'm inking the edges with black. And here is another piece of the paper ephemera from the Tim Holtz pack, and that's going to be my focal point. Now, I had already stuck glue on the back of my tan cardstock, so don't do that first, but working with it here. And I'm just going to place the floral image kind of crooked, and then I'm going to wrap some scrap twine. This twine I think came on some packaging in a Your Creative Studio box, and so it's waiting for use. And I do have other twine, like I've bought twine, but I've got so many now scraps from other things that I haven't had to get into the actual roll of twine in a while. And then I'm gonna wrap it around, and then I tie it a knot, and then I loop it behind the strands just to give it a little bit of gathering there on that particular point. And here I'm gonna add a whole lot of more adhesive because some of it was sticking to my desk, and then this time I can put it down on my card base, my white card base. And then to finish off the card, well, first I'll trim off the twine a bit. I'm taking those sentiments, and I tried to use the gold foil thing in my laminator. It did not work. So for this card, that is why I inked the edges with black, just to bring out more black. I'm going to have to research how to use that foiling because I don't have anything that can do it. So moving on to card number 4 here, we have this beautiful pattern paper. I love that little bit of white distressing that shows through on this kind of wood surface, wood-looking surface. So I've got the little white border, and then this is the offcut of that same sheet, and it coordinates perfectly. Imagine that. It's on from the same paper. So I loved using that. Then I've die cut this circle here out of the vellum that came in the kit, and I am going to glue that down underneath that extra strip of pattern paper. So I have some repositionable adhesive on that strip, but I don't have the actual adhesive on there yet. So then and I used a glue stick this time. It worked fairly well. I'm always trying different adhesives, and sometimes I haven't decided which one I like best, so I don't know. But it works well for this application. If, use your own favorite adhesive for vellum. And then I have I think that's a 1/4 inch strip of the gold that came in the Simon Says Stamp kit, and I'm just going to overlap my pattern. I think it's slightly crooked here, but don't look too closely. And then this came from the Tim Holtz pack. This is a beautiful bloom, isn't it? That's my focal point there. And again, I popped it up on the foam squares, and I'm going to put it there and right in the center-ish. And then I'm taking this sentiment from the stamp set, I Think the World of You. I have embossed it in the gold and just put it on a scrap of white. And I'm figuring out where I want to trim it here. And yeah, I liked that it didn't stick out too much underneath the stem there of the flower, so trimmed that a bit. And then I'm just going to glue that down. And I think that finishes off this card nicely. Very pretty. So for card number 5, again, it's hard to decide sometimes which side to use, but I wanted more of a background piece here, so I'm just using the blue side, not the flowers. And then I again am using my stamping platform, and I'm taking this other bloom from the stamp set, and I'm going to emboss it. If you can see in the right hand side of my screen, my embossing powder there, I've got the fine detail white from Simon Says Stamp, so I'm stamping it in the sort of the top portion of the card, just maybe 1/2 inch from 1/4 to 1/2 inch from the top of that blue panel, and emboss that. And this is how it looks. It's just kind of hanging out there right now. Had a little bit of warping with my heat gun, but that's par for the course there. Now, these are the dies that came in the kit, the Thanks and the Shadow. So I'm putting the Shadow on in vellum, and I don't know what was happening with my brain. I don't really like how I put that on there. If I do this again, I would put the white Thanks onto the vellum first, glue it, and then just use my glue right behind where the letters show through. But yeah, I don't know what happened when I was doing this. And so I thought I was done there, and then I thought, it needs a little something, and I pulled out these like clear gems that I have, and I'm just going to put 3 of them up here, and then I think I'm done again. But when I look at it, I'm just like, maybe a few more, or maybe a couple more. So you'll see here, I show it to you again. You get a few looks at this card, and then I'm like, how about 1 down here? But 1, no, because odds are pleasing, so that's even. There's only 4 there, and so maybe that's why I'm like, okay, it just needs 1 more. Let me know what you think, where it's done. Should I left it before? Did you like it with just the 3, with 4, with 5? Here's where I landed with it. And here is a quick look at all 5 cards again. So sometimes when I'm creating, it's just, I keep making game time decisions, I guess, and I'm like, I gotta change this a little bit, and this is how they turned out, and I hope you enjoy seeing a little bit of the process and seeing the cards that I created with this kit. Let me know if you got the kit, or if sometimes you can pick up just the stamp set. Thanks again for watching, and have a wonderful and creative day. Bye!